Welcome to this week's episode of LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I am your host, Bronagh Morgan, and I am thrilled to be able to bring some really exciting information about projects, research studies, really groundbreaking, important research that is going to benefit so many people that is going on here in our own city of London. So I'm a patient partner with London Health Sciences Centre as well as St. Thomas Hospital, St. Thomas Elgin General Hospital, and I am really so enthusiastic about the work that patient partners can do. One of the studies that I've been involved with for the last couple of years, and I guess we haven't been able to meet in person for a while due to COVID, but one of the last hands I got to shake in 2020 was Dr. Richard Kim. So Dr. Richard Kim is our first guest today. He's a clinician, he's a scientist with Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry, Lawson Health Research, as well as London Health Sciences Centre. He sees patients. He is involved in really, I've just got to let Dr. Kim tell you all about it. It's called precision medicine. This is something I think you're really going to want to know about. Thank you for being with us today, Dr. Kim.
Thank you, Bronagh. Delighted to be here, and really great opportunity to kind of reconnect with our patients as well as our city and the region, and a chance to kind of go over what we are currently involved in. But you're right, my team, we've been involved in this kind of emerging field of what people call precision medicine. That's a fairly broad term, but I guess in essence, for us, we kind of focus more specifically on how we might prescribe drugs better and how we might get benefit while avoiding some of the side effects or toxicity from various medications. So, in many ways, we've been trying to figure out how we can use our kind of genetic differences that we're all born with, as well as other, environmental variables, the drug interactions, those kind of things, to better predict, the right dose of the right drug in the right patient. And we've been doing this for many years. I was initially at Vanderbilt for about 15 years, and then I moved to London with a team from our group in 2006. So I've been here now 16 years, so really majority of my career is now here in London, and we've been very fortunate to be able to grow this program of precision medicine. And thank you for being part of our patient advisors and kind of really providing some insight. But really, it's an overall area that holds a significant promise, as new drugs are developed, as old drugs are better tuned for new indications or dosing, that if we can further titrate the drug dose or selection based on our genetic makeup, we think there's the possibility that we might get to the right drugs earlier without this trial and error approach. So we've been very, I think, fortunate in being able to build a team. And as part of that, we have been involved in a number of areas, but particularly, I think, related to some of our focus on cancer therapy, particularly avoiding side effects or toxicity to chemotherapy medications. And one of the new large grant funding that we're fortunate to get from CIHR, in which you're a big part of our patient advisory team, relates to how we can better serve our patients in terms of things like pain medications as well as antidepressant medications, because we know that as a part of cancer journey, from the time of diagnosis to treatment, there can be, things like surgery, chemotherapy medications, and lots of doctor visits. And we think, by kind of having patient-specific information relating to genetic testing that might help with the selection of, anti-nausea medications, some pain medications, possibly even antidepressant medications, that we might be able to help both our patients as well as our prescribing physicians, in terms of getting to the right drug earlier and hopefully better benefit or efficacy earlier on. And as part of that, we have been working on this kind of a multidisciplinary approach to making this happen. And for this large-scale project. As you know, we have a lot of scientists as well as clinicians, as well as involvement of our patient advisors, because we also want to better understand what kind of results, what kind of reporting, what kind of access to information that our patients would, I think, find valuable. And as we are building kind of a new way of providing results to physicians as well as patients in a secure kind of electronic way so that patients get information that is specific to them. So we are involving, a lot of folks with skill sets in privacy, IT technologies, as well as, of course, our patient advisors, because we really want to know how we disseminate information of relevance to our patients so it's understandable and also desirable, and how to provide such information. So this is a project that we're going to be embarked on for the next 3 to 4 years. But in addition to that, we've been also, of course, very fortunate to have a fairly large number of other type of patient and clinics for, certain medications, for example, stomach medicines for treating acid reflux called PPI medications, some medications for blood thinners and those kind of things. So we have a fairly broad range of patient types that we see, but we do see potential for helping a lot of patients with a cancer diagnosis.
And it's fantastic. Speaking on my behalf, so I have not had cancer, but my father had cancer and I was a caregiver. And it means a lot to be able to be involved in this study and this research as a caregiver for a patient who had cancer as well. And so when we think about patient partners, it's not just the patient themselves, but it's a whole family approach, isn't it?
Yes, and I think this is why I think in order for a lot of these kind of technology-based things to truly succeed, we really need input from all the stakeholders, including patient, caregivers, patient families, because at the end of the day, we don't want just the result to be kind of potentially available to prescribing physicians, but we also want the patients and their families to be able to directly understand and also access such information, right? So that they're really partners in the journey and understand why they're given certain drugs or therapies and why this type of information is useful to them. So it's really, I think, a win-win in that we will have additional patient buy-in and support for these type of, individualized therapy approaches, but also, of course, more satisfaction in terms of physicians and others in that, hopefully if we can get to more beneficial treatments earlier, avoiding severe adverse side effects, and of course, everybody sees the benefit. But I do think the future really involves all stakeholders and for sure patients and their caregivers and family members, because it does take a bit of time and energy to really understand, when there's a lot of new diagnoses and doctors and information thrown at you, that we try to make sure at least the components that directly affect our patients and their families, that if we can make it as understandable and useful by taking into consideration the perspective of our patients and their caregivers. So we're very looking forward to having these types of input from our team, including your help as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you for letting me, telling our viewers a little bit more about it and letting me share this with our viewers, because it's such an exciting project. We've got to take a short break, but we're going to dive into a little bit more about the specifics of precision medicine, maybe some of the successes the program has had already and where it's going in the next few years. So we hope you'll stay with us with more from Dr. Richard Kim, and we'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Blow out all candles before you leave the room or go to bed.
Never leave a burning candle unattended.
When you go out, don't forget to blow out.
For more information about the vaccine and eligibility, visit healthunit.com. To book an appointment, call the number on your screen or book online at covidvaccinelm.ca.
Hey, this is Scott Navarro, producer here at Rogers TV, and while I've been a staff member for about 5 years, I've actually started my Rogers TV journey as a volunteer 10 years ago. I started as a volunteer in high school, trying to get some hands-on experience, see if I liked working in TV, and I loved it. I met some great people who I'm still friends with to this day, and the technical skills I learned helped me get a job in Toronto working in TV before moving back to London to get a job here at Rogers TV. So if you're a young person and you're interested in television production, I recommend you come out, get some hands-on experience, and see if you like it. Or even if you're a not so young person, I still recommend you join our crew, get some experience, and have some fun along the way. We've got some opportunities working on sports productions, studio productions, and shooting shows out in the field. So if this is something that you're interested in, go to rogerstv.com/volunteer, and I'd love to see you on one of my crews real soon.
Welcome back to LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh, and I've been having a conversation with one of, I guess, my favorite medical heroes because I'm involved in a study with Dr. Richard Kim, precision medicine. It's been here for a while, so if this is new information for our viewers, you've been working in this area here in London for a long time. It is Can you talk to me about some of the successes that you've had over the years with tailoring medicines to the DNA, the genetic makeup of patients?
Sure. So, indeed, we have really provided important kind of technology-driven testing, starting with things like certain types of blood thinners like warfarin. But over the past, decade or so, probably the most striking example that I think has really translated to patient care would relate to two specific types of chemotherapy medications. One is called 5-fluorouracil, and another is a chemo drug called capecitabine, which is a pill form of 5-fluorouracil. And these are drugs that are widely used, especially for colon cancer and stomach cancer. So it's really an important class of medications. But what's interesting is that these types of medications, for the past 30, 40 years, we've known that in rare cases, even a single dose of this type of medication can lead to life-threatening toxicity, and because of that, many research have spent a lot of time trying to figure out the genetic basis, and we now know genetic deficiency in this gene called DPYD is a key reason for why some people can't metabolize these drugs, and then these drugs are built up very quickly and can lead to potentially lethal events. So since about 8-9 years ago, at the request of some of our oncologists, we started offering these testing for our cancer patients who might get these type of drugs. Initially, we did see quite a few that had side effects, and were quite sick after the first dose. But over the past 5-6 years, almost all of the patients that we see are seen prior to the first dose of this type of chemotherapy medications. And about 1 in 15 people have what we call partial deficiency, so they can take the chemo. However, they need to take a lower dosage because at the lower dose, the amount of the chemo in their body is the same compared to people who take full regular doses. So for the 1 in 15, we know the lower dose is in fact the correct dose, and about 1 in 1,000 have the deficiency. And we have identified, both a lot of partial deficiency patients as well as several completely deficient patients. And those patients were able to be treated with the alternative chemotherapies. So clearly examples where people may have, in fact, ended up in ICU or even passed away from the chemotherapy, in which we have then prevented such things. And because of that, we were, of course, able to involve our patients as part of our research program. We have published a large paper relating to this chemotherapy and our experience using pre-treatment testing. And several years ago, I did make an application to Health Quality Ontario that this type of testing should be evaluated as a standard of care. And last summer, I was really delighted to see that, in fact, Health Quality Ontario, as well as Ontario Health, in fact, recommended that this DPYD testing be a publicly funded blood test that should be available to all Ontarians. And it is my understanding that probably late this summer or fall, this will be a standard blood test that hospitals will carry out in their molecular diagnostic laboratories. So this is kind of an example of sustained research, involving our patients as well as clinicians, in which we're able to demonstrate that it's feasible to do this year. We're able to demonstrate that it actually does prevent toxicity and potentially save lives, and also demonstrate that it is in fact cost effective, that can change policy. So I think going forward, this is an example where Ontarians will benefit, right? So I always kind of view this as a important, I think, a reminder that many of us involved in what we call translational research, and we sometimes think it takes forever and often doesn't quite get to the point of regular kind of day-to-day patient care, but it does show that it can become a standard of care. So we're delighted in that. So now, we are embarking on kind of next versions of, I think, more innovative technology. So we're hoping, for example, for more comprehensive care, can we apply not just kind of testing for a few known genetic markers, but can we carry out what is known as next generation sequencing? Can we sequence a number of genes at the same time and identify not just kind of rare things that have been published, but also rare things that may be very specific to our patients that we all have? Because many of us have rare genetic variations that cannot be checked by just doing regular DNA testing, but often requires sequencing the gene. So we're hoping that by applying the latest technologies that we actually can do this in real time. So not only find rare, common things, but also patient-specific things, and then use that to provide better drug therapy. So we're quite excited about the next steps of technology as well.
It's fantastic to know that you're bringing so many people, I guess, together, and so many tools. So every tool that's at your disposal, whether it's the technology tools, it's the people aspect, which is people like me and the other patient partners, the professionals, but as well as the political system. You're really making change that is going to save lives and make lives better for people in Ontario.
Absolutely lucky that way. And it is the multidisciplinary approach. And there's a lot of smart people with other skill sets. We always value that. And it certainly adds to the team approach. And we've been very fortunate to have those. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it really, healthcare involves so many things. And that's, I really think that you've brought that home to our viewers today, that it's not just about, what happens in the hospital, but so many people involved, so many technologies involved, so much exciting research going on right here in London that is benefiting people in Ontario and I guess long-term around the world. So thank you for taking the time, Dr. Kim, to chat with us. We're going to have to take another break and we'll be right back with more LdnOnt TV.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
For 25 years, you've been helping to make our roads safer by doing the right thing. You've been the designated driver, you've stayed over, called home, you've called a cab or a friend, and planned ahead. Let's keep doing the right thing. Support sober driving by getting yourself and your friends home safely.
Do the right thing.
Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Tyler Fines, host of Off the Puck Hockey on Rogers Channel 20. We interview some of the biggest names in hockey and sports. Check us out, Rogers Channel 20, Off the Puck Hockey. Let's go.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. We've been having some fascinating conversation today about, really exciting things that are happening in our healthcare system. And we have the pleasure now of introducing you to Katie Kowalski. So Katie is a research associate with Western University, as well as a physiotherapist. I've known Katie for a couple of years now by being a patient partner in some studies. And so Katie, take it away. Tell us about the studies that I'm involved in and your work as a physiotherapist research associate at Western.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Bronagh. And it's really nice to be here to chat with you today. So as you said, our research interest is in spinal pain. And this is a really important area to study because it is the #1 cause of disability, both worldwide and in Canada. So at any point in time in Canada, there's over 4 million people who are experiencing just low back pain alone. So it's also the leading condition that requires effective rehabilitation management.
So a huge problem. Until I got involved in the study, I didn't realize just how prevalent, back pain is, but also how, the societal cost and the healthcare system cost of people, how limiting this is for a lot of people's lives. And so it's just so great to know that there is this research going on.
Yeah, exactly. The cost, the societal cost is fairly substantial. I mean, there's estimates in Ontario alone that the direct costs for low back pain are over $300 million annually. So you're absolutely correct there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in an election year, when we're talking a lot about, capacity in the healthcare system, if we could do something, which is obviously your goal. So talk to me, Katie, a little bit about what you and your colleagues are working on right now.
Yeah, good. So our research lab is located at Victoria Hospital. And this is important for us because it allows us to work really closely with healthcare practitioners at Victoria, like physiotherapists there and physicians. But it's also important for patients because it does increase access to participate in research studies, for example, because we're not always having to bring them on campus.
Absolutely.
One of the critical ways, as you mentioned before, that we ensure our research is important and meaningful to people who experience spinal pain is through our patient partner advisory group. So we meet with this group every other month to discuss and receive feedback on both current and upcoming research projects. And by doing this, it really ensures that patients' voices inform everything that we do.
So important. And we really, as patient partners, feel valued when our input is not just going into these projects, but we can see kind of where our input has actually mattered to the researchers.
Yeah, good. Excellent. I'm so happy to hear that you feel that way because that is absolutely our goal.
Fantastic. Now, tell me specifically about maybe some of the projects that are on the go right now. What's the thing that you're researching and what's the goal?
Yeah, good. So our program of research is focused to precision rehabilitation interventions for managing spinal pain. So precision rehabilitation means that interventions are tailored to meet the needs of each person and that they're offered at the right time. To manage spinal pain in this way requires a comprehensive assessment to identify each person's deficits and their prognosis so that we can target and customize rehabilitation interventions to that specific person. So one study that we're currently developing will take place at Victoria Hospital. So for this study, we'll be performing a comprehensive 360-degree assessment of people experiencing persistent low back or neck pain. So this 360-degree assessment will include taking all different kinds of measurements. So it might be the strength of your back, your sensation, your muscles, your balance. We'll use physical activity monitors to track the number of steps people take per day. And then we'll also take different measures from blood, like inflammation. So we'll perform this 360 assessment multiple times as people move through the care pathway. So for example, we might take them before and after physical therapy or before and after spinal surgery. We can then use a whole bunch of different fancy math techniques to understand which of the 360 measures or which combinations of the measures predict the patients who have good outcome, like low pain and return to daily activities after their PT or after their surgery. And once we know which of the 360 assessment measures are predictive of that good outcome of low pain, low disability, we can then develop precision interventions that target those measures. So for example, we know that walking a certain number of steps per day is predictive of low pain and low disability after lumbar spinal surgery. So for example, in this example, we could use accelerometers or smartwatches to measure daily steps and identify the people who are in need of increasing their daily steps through targeted rehabilitation interventions in order to reduce their pain and reduce disability.
Fantastic. So many people must be involved. So physiotherapists like you, doctors are involved, patients are involved. This is a lot of people coming together to, I guess, develop these kind of best practices for people going forward.
Absolutely, you have it right. And we collaborate with a lot of other researchers, both at London Health Sciences Centre, but also on the Western Campus, to really understand sort of what are the mechanisms underlying spinal pain and underlying the development of different conditions for spinal pain. So it's all really exciting and completely collaborative from the get-go.
Fantastic. Now, for our viewers, and if they're not maybe as lucky as me to, be in the know about all of these kind of studies that you can participate in, how does somebody get involved in a study like this? If you are maybe either experiencing back pain or maybe caregiver, anybody that would like to find out more?
Yeah, if they would like to find out more, I think the best way would be to email me. Do you want me just to give you my email address?
We can add that if you'd like. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be the easiest way for somebody to, if they're interested both as a research study participant, but also as a patient partner. We're always looking to hear more voices and have more experiences and perceptions contribute to our program of research. So we're always looking for more people if they'd like to join that way too.
Fantastic. And speaking as somebody who's been involved in this study for a little while and being involved with you as well, Katie, you really do feel like you are being heard and that the contributions that the patient is making are really being valued and making change. And I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it.
So thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us a little bit about your work today, Katie. Thank you as well to Dr. Kim for being with us. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in and finding out about all of these really, really groundbreaking, really important studies going on here in London, one of the research centers of Ontario in the healthcare system. We hope you'll tune in again next week for more LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
To paddle a kayak effectively, you need to use your body efficiently. And the key is good posture. Sit up straight and relax your shoulders. Your torso will do most of the work. Your arms and shoulders are there to transmit the power to the paddle. Make sure that you have plenty of torso rotation. And be careful not to bend your wrists to reduce the chance of straining them.
Monday nights, a winner with Optimus TV Bingo on Rogers TV. With a weekly prize board of $3,000, the money raised funds projects to help the youth in our community. You can pick up your cards at over 90 locations across London, and for only $2, you get 6 chances to win. Watch, play, and win every